It's dawn outside and you can hear all the birds waking up. So if you hear birds, it's not all in your head. So before we get started, let's put on our ears. Whoop, boop, boop. So I have more makeup than anybody rightly should. And a large part of that is that I've had a lot of trouble letting go of things because it's sort of that mindset, you know, that you get where you're like, I could need that someday. Someday, in an imaginary way where, you know, I'm at a convention for Kermit the Frog lovers and I need that sparkly green. That's never going to happen. But what has also happened is that I have discovered more about what I love and the brands that I love. And I've ended up with a significant number of things that that's my jam. And it makes it, at this point, much easier to be like, I've never used this palette. Or I used it, and maybe at the time I was like, this is fine, but it's no longer fine. I'm going to show you basically my eyeshadow palette collection. I kind of don't really have, well, maybe one or two singles. Everything's palettes. And so we'll go through the things that I'm keeping, and then I'll show you the things that I'm getting rid of because either I have, you know, they're fine, but I have those colors and palettes that I absolutely adore, or they're just garbage. So I'm going to start with the three that I put out. I have a little space here between my organizers that I put palettes that I want to get some use out of. And so I put out three that I kind of want to get some use out of going into the summer. So the one that I actually I didn't think I was going to keep this. I thought I was going to keep a different one, but then I swatched them side by side. I like if I'm picking out a palette and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it, I pick out one that I think I am going to keep that has similar colors. And I see how they perform next to each other. And in this case, this palette and the one that I thought I was going to keep, I swatched them and it turned out that this one was so much better. And that is the Beauty Bakery Proof is in the Puddin' eyeshadow palette, which is adorable. Was that a reason to keep it? Maybe. That was sort of the reason that I kept it around was, you know, I only have this one item from Beauty Bakery, and it's flippin' adorable. Look at the inside. It has little bananas. How cute is that? But as you can see, it's a very basic, warm tone, the kind of palette that you end up with bunches of bananas. And so I wasn't going to keep it until I was like, but am I like, is this something that if I get rid of it, am I going to be sad about it later? And I was thinking no, and then I picked up another palette that we'll probably meet later and swatched them next to each other. And this one was so much better, not even a little bit better. It was like too much better. So it gets to stay. It gets to stay. There you go. Enjoy your little life, leaning up against that. The other one that I left out was from Alamar Cosmetics. I think it's Reina del Caribe. I wish I could say that more smoothly, more suavely, and yet here we are. I adore this. The colors are beautiful and summery, and I unfortunately haven't had much use out of it, but I want to. Just because every time I do use it, I'm like, why aren't I using this more? And it's because I've been overwhelmed with crap. So one that I have that is pretty new to me is from Ace Beauté. It's the Nostalgia palette, which I didn't think I was going to love. I think I might have gotten it in a boxy charm. And the pictures just didn't do it justice. I kept looking at the pictures of it and it just looked not good, kind of muddy, kind of confusing. Oh my gosh. Pictures do not do it justice. This is so... And the colors are meant to be extremely vibrant, and they are. And that's something I love. You know, sometimes you get an eyeshadow palette and things are a little bit sheer or muted, and that's fine. Sometimes those have their place. Sometimes you don't want your eyes to be like, look at me. But sometimes you just really do. You just want them to be like, here I am. My eyes and your eyes are seeing each other, okay? So that also gets to live up here. Now we're gonna go into the drawer. Am I regretting taking these out now that I've put them in? The whole function of the drawer is to take things out, but not necessarily all at once. They've kind of Tetrised themselves together, and I'm not sure they'll ever go back in that way, but we're doing it. We're doing it together today. So the first one we're going to talk about out of the drawer, we're going to start with maybe the mini ones. I've heard people just spell this out P-Y-T beauty. I'm pretty sure it stands for Pretty Young Thing Beauty. However they say it, this is the Day to Night Cool Eyeshadow Palette, which I thought I had the warm one, but apparently not. This one's just a very simple, you know, it is what it says it is. I think the reason I decided to keep this one, even though, you know, it's pretty basic, I probably have these colors in something else, except for this color right here. I have this Quest of the Makeup Persuasion. I had a duo that it probably came in somebody's like gift with purchase from Lancome, and it had this dusty, rosy, muted mauve. It just had a je ne sais quoi about it, that you would put it on your eyelids and it just made your eyes look healthier and your eye color look brighter and more alive. And you would never know that there was magic in this little duo. I don't even remember what the other color is. I could try and guess, have no idea. I'd be making it up. I would be lying to you. And I'm not going to do that. There just came a day where I was like, I've had this forever. And at the time, I wasn't much of a makeup user. And I was like, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to throw this out. And I did. And now I hate myself every day. But that's kind of why I kept this, because this is like close to that. So that's that. That is the story. My deepest regret. So the next thing I have that I'm keeping is this Kaja Bento in Chocolate Dahlia. This one comes with 2 mattes and a sparkle. So you get your little chocolate colored one and then like more light colored chocolate. Oh no, did I stab you? I am so sorry. I am so sorry. There we go. There we go. You're alive. You're good. And then this really shimmery color, which look at how that picks up the light. Ugh. Ugh. I keep looking at it being like, maybe you're boring. I don't know. And then I swatch that shimmery color and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm a horrible, horrible person. I didn't mean it. So this little Tina Tana duo is from e.l.f. in Pink Pal. This is so incredibly smooth. Like, you touch it and you're just like, am I even touching anything? Clearly. I'm sort of keeping this for the same reason as the Pretty Young Thing one. This pink color is so close to that mythical pink color that it gets to stay. It gets a free ride. I don't know what else to tell you. It makes me happy. This one is from Kaleido Cosmetics. It's one of their diamond foils in Sizzle. Does Sizzle make you think of silver? I don't know. Sizzle to me is like gold, like sizzling like fire, like sunshine, you know. This is like a kind of like it's very reflective. I haven't really gotten a chance to use it much. I really haven't been into cool toned eyeshadows until recently. And something, I can't even tell you what, but something piqued my interest and now it's on the menu. This one is from Love You First. It's their Perfect Eyeshadow Duo in Rose Gold and Ivory. It's incredibly basic. It's literally one look. One look. But sometimes I don't want to think about it. I just want the one look. But yeah, probably got it from Ipsy. That's really all there is to say about this. I don't know what else to tell you other than it's staying. It's staying. This duo from MAC in Dazzle Me and Mulch. I couldn't tell you how old this is. It's old. I really only keep it because of this color. It's so beautiful. It's very, very light, but it has this creamy, like seashell pink with just a hint of a gold shift to it that I just love. And every time I think about getting rid of it, I'm reminded of the mythical eyeshadow and how I will never again have this eyeshadow if I get rid of it. So I keep it out of fear. But luckily there aren't too many fear eyeshadows, so it's okay. I love these. I love these so much. These are eyeshadow quads from NARS. So this is the one in Orgasm. Simply pink and beautiful. And every time I wear it, I just feel like 72% more adorable. And this one's in Orgasm X, which is much darker. It just makes me happy. This is another one that needs to get more love. It's the Marc Jacobs Fantasine. I think that these colors are beautiful. They're very much like along the same line as the NARS ones that we just looked at. And I just haven't gotten any use out of it, and I feel horrible about it. And I'm going to change that this summer. I would put it out with the other 3 summer ones, but it just sort of doesn't, it would end up falling off the back of the desk, so we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it in here, and every time we look at those ones, we'll remember their sister, and we will bring her out now and then. We won't keep her at home with mom and dad. We will take her out for fun, because she is our sister. My hair is just such a mess. Luckily, I have these fantastical ears to help keep everything mostly contained, along with my fancy headband. Why am I wearing 2 headbands? Why aren't you wearing 2 headbands? I'm just putting my stuff back where it belongs. Does it fit now? Not really. Okay, so this one also sort of an eyeshadow palette that I plan on bringing out for the summer, but again, it would probably just fall off the back of the desk. And that is the Beached Eyeshadow Palette by Urban Decay, which I don't even understand why this didn't get more hype when it came out. I adore this. Every time I think, I mean, Urban Decay, they're okay, you know, they were revolutionary and now they're just kind of, you know, trying to find their way in the world. It's a great story. Is it always a great color story? Not always. But this really was. This, like, look at that. You can just imagine, like, being on the beach and sipping your drinks and going in the water and having fun. I also am keeping the most amazing Jackie Aina Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. It's just so good. It's just so good. I just love it. I love it. Everybody loves it. I don't think I've ever heard it. If you don't love that palette, I don't even know what's wrong with you. This one was an unexpected keep. The BoxyCharm branded Hello. We're fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's the Hello Charmer BoxyCharm palette, which at the time I had been so excited. Like I wanted this. When I saw it in like spoilers or previews, I was like, I really don't care what else I'm getting in the box. I just want this. Almost exclusively for this sparkle. And all the other colors are amazing too. I mean, for something that wasn't even a collab that BoxyCharm did on their own, that they just made a palette, you're not going to expect it to be anything special that you're going to keep more than a few months and then you're going to be like, why did I even keep you? But give it a chance. It's worth keeping. This is one of those palettes I keep for a single color, not because of the mythical color. It is the Winky Lux Kitten palette that they did with BoxyCharm. Yes? Yes. I keep it for this color right here. It is a lilac that has like a greeny blue shift to it that is like nothing else that I've ever owned makeup-wise. It's the only reason I kept it. I'm not ashamed. I am who I am, and that's just it. This one I was excited for. It's the only Tarte palette that I'm keeping. It's the Maneater palette, the second version. The first version, I believe, didn't have the black color in it. Yeah, the eyeshadows are smooth, they're basic, they're easy to work with. They're not the most pigmented. They don't have to be the most pigmented. I still like it. This one was also a bit of a surprise that I was keeping it because I kept thinking, you know, you got it and everything, and from what you swatched, they were okay, and I think you did a look with it, and meh. This is the Hip Dot Zion palette. It's just the most beautiful, like, purples and sort of like sunrisey colors, you know, like dusk and sunrise, and it's lovely. It's lovely. Didn't think I was going to keep it. However, even the pastel purple, and pastels I feel like are some of the hardest to pull off because they just look chalky or they go too sheer. They blend out into nothing. But this purple is so smooth. It doesn't get all chalky. It's beautiful, and that I feel like sets the tone for the rest of the palette. It's sort of every color in here functions the way that you want it to. So now we're getting into just my Natasha Denona stuff. So yes, we're getting into Natasha Denona and the eyeshadow palette that kind of started me thinking about getting rid of some of my eyeshadow palettes, because I was just thinking, especially with Natasha Denona, I really enjoy, especially her minis. I know people sort of say that the minis are touch and go in terms of quality, and they're not as great as the bigger palettes, which may be. They're still really great. I really enjoy every single mini I've bought, and I think the only mini I don't have is the Tropics mini. And I also have a handful of her larger 5-pan ones. And for the most part, I love those as well. There's a couple that I'm like, eh. I only have one of her mid-size palettes, and I just got it. It's the new Zendo. I've been wanting the bronze palette and the glam palette. I have the minis. I love them. But something always made me step back and be like, but, you know, in Canada, it's like, what, an $85 palette? I couldn't justify it, especially when I really like the minis. And the minis have the colors, like, that I would use anyways. And was there anything different in the big ones that would make me also want to have those? And the answer was always kind of no. And I know that It's not like just like 15 pans of one color, but they're all very similar. Where this one, as soon as I saw the picture, I was like, oh, I'm getting that. Because it has so many different colors in here. It makes it more versatile. You can do your basic looks, like your everyday looks. You have pops of color. It's really good. And like you can even see with that color flow down here, it is so creamy that it looks like I've whipped it. Whipped it. Everything I've done with it so far, I've loved working with it and how it looks on my eyes. I don't regret it whatsoever. I would purchase this over again. And just how happy I was with that, it made me think, I have palettes that I'm holding on to that don't make me feel that way at all. So why am I holding on to them? You know? Let's do the mini palettes. The mini retro palette. I love this so much. I love pink eyeshadows, like baby pink eyeshadows. Mwah, perfect. Don't change a thing. Make them all. Especially the really shimmery one down here. It's so beautiful. If you really like baby pink eyeshadows, get this. Just get it. Who are you? Oh, you're the mini Zendo. People are saying that the two palettes don't look anything alike. I think they have a similar vibe. These colors are vaguely represented. They're not completely different. Like, you look at them, you're like, okay, maybe... Oh no, I've hurt you. I'm so sorry, little Zendo. Ooh. I think it's just the vibe. Like, the green from the middle inspired the greens up in this corner. And these two peachy sort of tones inspired this area. And then you've got this really dark brown that sort of comes out in, like, you know, corners there. So I don't think they're exactly alike. I don't know how I would have felt if the entire palette had been these sort of muted, washed out with a bit of coral kind of things. Like this, to me, is the best way they could have gone with what they had with this. So, and I love this little mini palette. It's not my most favorite, but I love how the sort of muted silvery green and those sort of like corally earth tones go together. They're just, it's very pretty. So this is the mini gold palette. This, like when I heard mini gold and then I saw the picture, it was different than what I was expecting, mostly because it's very green. But then you think about like burnished gold and it's perfect. Like it's more unexpected than you would think a teeny tiny little gold palette would be. And so that's why I love it. But this, I think, was my first Natasha Denona purchase, and it's the mini star palette. And I've seen people review this and they say they hate this like shifty duochrome over here that is sort of, again, that blue and brown that I just think is so beautiful and people gravitate towards. People weren't impressed by this, and every single time I use this palette, specifically with this color on my lower lash line, people comment and they want to know what I'm wearing and they tell me my makeup looks amazing. So I think that speaks more for it than anything else that I could say. So this is one of my like newer ones as well, is the mini love palette. This one, I wanted to love it. Love it. I wanted to love it more than I did. And I say that for one reason, and it's actually this color right here, which is actually the color Love, which makes it even more disappointing. Every other color in here is wonderful and I love, and Love is underwhelming. is more sheer than it should be, especially if it's like, even swatch is beautiful. I don't understand. I've used it with brushes, I've used it putting it on with my finger, and it always comes out weirdly sheer. And I don't want it to be. I want it to be, I want it to pop, and it doesn't, and I don't understand. So I bought this at the same time as the Mini Star palette, and this is the Mini Lila palette. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not my favorite out of the bunch. Do I hate it? I haven't hated a single mini. I would have, okay, if I could change one thing in the palette, I would change the purples, like specifically the two matte purples, because you look at it and you're like, well, this one's a little more wine, this one's more like a true like pop of purple. They're too similar, so I would never wear both of them together in one look. You're not going to be able to tell that there was like two colors there. So that's the only thing I think I would have changed in this one, but it's still amazing. And this is the third one I bought with the other two, is the Mini Sunset palette. I had bought this and then later read reviews that this one was just dragged. And I really, like, I know the minis are not the same formula as the bigger palettes. I know they're not. And that's probably where the disappointment came from, was that this was one of like her first minis, and people were expecting to be able to get the same quality and were just disappointed, and therefore they thought these were crap. They're not. They're not crap. If you don't want to buy, like, if you know you're never going to go through a bigger palette and you just like having like little minis, this is great. Get this and use the F out of it. If you really want the full Natasha Denona experience and you use makeup frequently, get a bigger palette. Get a bigger palette and do the whole Natasha Denona ride. So this is the Mini Glam palette. I really enjoy this one. This may have been what sparked sort of me using more cool tone things, even though I would say other than the sort of the grayish color, these kind of lean more neutral than cool tone, which I feel was the whole thing with the full size Glam palette, was very like cool toned colors. But it was enough to get me away from warm and neutral and more into like the cool tone. And I love it. It's such a good little palette. Like, definitely, if you're gonna get into Natasha Denona mini, this should be one of them. And then on the other side of things, we have the Mini Nude palette. It's much more warmer, but still like a really easy look to put together. So definitely, if you're one of those people who just likes to look polished and put together, and you don't really have need for a larger palette, let alone a collection of palettes, think about getting this one. This one's really good. I love it. So now we're going into like my 5 pan palettes. These are the newest ones. These ones were the BoxyCharm ones. The Peak one, I wanted this so bad. I wanted this so bad, and then I got it, and I was like, yes! So now I have it, and every single time I use it, I'm just like, oh, thank you for sending this to me. You can probably find a billion of these on Poshmark. If you didn't have BoxyCharm or don't have BoxyCharm and didn't get a chance to get this, just go on like Poshmark and buy one. It's so good. And then last month for BoxyCharm, they had 2 collaborations with Natasha Denona, and one of them was like a really crazy looking palette, which I would have been excited to get. I thought it would be so fun to try and come up with looks for that thing. But I got the Ayana one, which took me even further into the cool toned sort of look. I kind of cackled a little bit when everyone was like losing their minds over having to get the crazy looking one, and everyone was so upset, and I got this one. I was kind of like, it's just beautiful. I've used it a few times now. I haven't had it that long. Also, if you want to get your hands on it and you don't have BoxyCharm, Poshmark, they all end up on Poshmark. Everything ends up on Poshmark. Poshmark. Who are you? Oh, yes. Okay, so I know the cranberry palette has been out forever. I didn't have it. I really wanted it. But yeah, it's just so fun. Like, I'm so glad I got my hands on it. And the other one I picked up was the Coral palette. I wanted this so badly just for this, like, shifty kind of like pinkish lavender. Oh, it's so beautiful along with the corals. It's just so good. It's just so good. You see how much joy good stuff brings to me? Like the good makeup. Don't worry, we're gonna bring this down with the bad makeup. Don't worry. If you wanted to feel depressed with me, there'll be a moment. So this one is the Camel palette, which, how many people when this came out thought it was the Camo palette, and then it turned out to be the Camel palette? But yeah, it's a very good basic neutral with a pop of copper here. It's so good. If you want a bigger, like, than the mini, but like a 5-pan palette, and you like just being able to do a basic eye look, get this one. Get this one. This is so good, especially the copper color. It's so creamy that, like, you can sit there and, like, smoosh into it. I think this was my first big 5-pan palette from Natasha Denona. It's just the palette 02. I sort of wear this more like in the spring and then in the fall. The spring because it's sort of, you know, those like flowery colors, but in the fall because they're muted. So that's my logic there. I feel like I forgot one. I did. So the Laura Lee Los Angeles Party Animal, I completely forgot to pull this one out. I'm keeping this specifically because I do not have fluorescent colors, and these are awesome. One of the shows that I'm an audience member on, we did an 80s week, and this was amazing. Even though it was like a crazy fluorescent to my eyebrow kind of look, I would want to pull that off in real life. Like, not just like some kind of like costume party type of thing. I would have worn that like out on a night on the town if we still did those, or it was just really fun. So I don't know. I feel like this just kind of got overlooked for some reason. Maybe because it's fluorescent and not many people know what to do with them. Have fun. If you can still get this, get this. Have some fun with it. Just a moment. We are having a brief intermission between keepables and crap to feed the Doge. Okay, so now we're getting into the stuff I'm not keeping. These I'm going to go through real quick just because I don't really want to spend a whole lot more time on them. This is the Amber Times 9 palette from MAC. I really wanted it for the colored rice paper, but I'm kind of over it now. So there's that. This MAC one is one that I made myself. I really don't even know what the colors are called because there's no names on them. One of them is not a MAC color, it's a NYX color, and this color is basically almost exactly like the mythical color. I may pop it out. I really don't think I am, just because I have other colors that sort of are close enough. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The Pure Be Your Selfie palette, which smells like chocolate. I'm not keeping it. This was one of the palettes that I thought I was going to keep. When I swatched it next to other things, though, the pigmentation was shameful. Shameful. This one was a shock. This one got demoted to not keeping because there were two other palettes that I ended up keeping that had the exact same colors, and it's the Ace Beauté Scarlet Dusk palette. I know I know it's amazing and it's wonderful and it's bright. This is like amazing. However, even the Nostalgia palette by Ace Beauté that I kept, partly because when I, just out of curiosity, swatched a couple of the colors that seemed identical between the palettes, the other one was so much better, and I honestly was so shocked. It kind of shamed this one. And then when I looked at that and a little bit at one of the other ones, I was like, I have all these colors. Why am I keeping this one? When even just the Nostalgia palette on its own probably has all the colors out of this that I would have used anyways. I do still have the Tartelette in Bloom palette, which with all of the much more cooler toned ones that I have now that are so amazing, there's no point in keeping this. This one I thought I was actually going to like. I used it once after I watched Kathleen Lights use it when she was doing her BoxyCharm unboxing. It's the Teddy Boy palette from Butter London. Again, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. It's fine. I just would rather use other things. This one, I'm actually sorry I even swatched at all. The Kypris Shimmer Palette, Active Illumination for Eyes and Body. I don't get this. It's supposed to be an all shimmer palette that you can use wherever, but would I? No, because it's not good. This is legitimately, this isn't even like, well, it's just not good compared to something that's actually fantastic and probably was cried upon by angels and kissed by God. This is literally crap. It's just crap. I'm actually angry that probably BoxyCharm wasted my time by sending this. This one I was surprised I didn't like, and I kind of keep keeping it, even though I've put it in the box to be either sold or given away. It's the Zoeva Opulence palette. It's just, I know people love Zoeva, but this is my first sort of like, it's my introduction to them, and I would never buy one of their other palettes now because this just wasn't, it was so underwhelming. This one I was surprised I didn't use more. It's the Pure Festival palette. I think they have two now, but this is the original one. It looked so fun. And this was back when they first started, everyone started putting like glitters into their eyeshadow palettes, which I'm fine with. I don't mind glitters. I thought I was going to use it more and I didn't. And that hot pink and purple are probably like the most bright eyeshadows next to the Laura Lee one. But because I have the Laura Lee one, I would never use this. This one's by Studio Makeup, which I've only gotten through BoxyCharm, and I feel like BoxyCharm has done them wrong. BoxyCharm, if you're listening, honestly, like, pick better stuff from their brands, or at least send me the right colors in brands so that I am getting the full experience. Because the only two things I've gotten from Studio Makeup are this and a tinted moisturizer that they sent in a shade that is so dark that it would be socially inappropriate for me to wear. This is, I mean, it's fine. It's your basic sort of leaning towards the naked palette kind of palette. It's just, it's so just okay that I will never use it. Oh, BeBe is my boxer and she's here to say that she finished her breakfast. Okay, so this one I was surprised, again, I didn't like. And it's the Velvet palette from Ciate London. Oh, it's broken. Of course it is. Of course it is. Hopefully that stays in, but you would think that there's diversity in this palette. You would be wrong. They all kind of just blend out into nothingness and into each other and become just one big nothing. It's so sad. It wasn't okay, and apparently it is now broken. broken, which, great. These ones I've kept because I felt that I should like them, or at least have use for them. And I don't. They are these Wet n Wild Color Icon eyeshadow palettes, which I don't even think they make these ones anymore. I think they changed their packaging and sort of like reinvented these exact same things. So this one I think was supposed to be my Glamour Squad, so it's the Anastasia Glam palette. And it has like the similar colors in there. You could probably get similar looks. Is it the same quality? Probably not. And this one, Rosé in the Air, is supposed to be like a dupe for Modern Renaissance. But again, I just don't need it. I have all of these colors in other palettes. So this e.l.f. Rose Gold palette, out of all of the Naked palettes, really loved Naked 3 from Urban Decay. I thought that, again, baby pinks, they look really good on me. I think they bring out the green in my eyes. And I didn't want to rebuy Naked 3 because those ones are expensive. They get it more expensive every year. And even though I loved Naked 3, is the quality worth the price point? It's just not anymore. If the price had stayed the same that it was originally, then I'd probably be like, okay, fine. The e.l.f. Rose Gold palette has basically the same sort of color story, some similar colors, but I'm just not using it. I have baby pinks and other palettes that I clearly get excited about. You've been with me this far. You know how excited I get about those other ones. This one, I've made so many excuses about keeping. I just need to stop. This is the e.l.f. The New Classics. It's good. It's good for e.l.f. It's good for the drugstore if you are looking for, you know, a pretty easy palette, like something that maybe you're new to makeup or you're just not confident in makeup and you want a palette that's no fuss and that you're not going to make bad decisions with. Get this. This is decent, but I don't need it and I never use it because I have other palettes. This is the last one I'm getting rid of, and it's a single by Violet Voss called Magic Hour. I hate singles. I hate them. The only reason I'm keeping that silver is because I kind of don't have a silver like it in all the other palettes, and I don't mind keeping one single, but I have so many golds in everything else, and it's fine. I don't need it. It's not getting used because I don't need it. So that's it. That is my palette collection and declutter. I feel really good that I was able to finally let go and not cling to things, because so many of those, I mean, they're fine. And that's what made me keep them, was that they were fine. But I deserve, and you deserve better than fine. Better than fine. Go through your makeup. If you've got a lot of makeup, don't keep things because they belong to a certain brand or because you might need them someday. If you need a Kermit the Frog color someday for Kermit the Frog convention, you can go out and find another Kermit the Frog green. Until then, you don't need it. Instead, keep things because they make you happy, because they're good, because they enhance your makeup collection. Not just because they've been here so long, you might as well keep them around. Don't do that. That is unfair to the makeup. You let that makeup go. So that's it. That's all. No more. Not until next time. So go have yourself a really good day, and we'll see each other later. Boop, boop. Bye.